This is Most Essential. I'm Michael Diamond. Like, share, subscribe. Turn on your notifications and leave a comment. Okay, we still got some time before the Olympia rolls around, but in all three bodybuilding divisions, and I'm talking about 212, Classic, Physique, and Open, we got some interesting angles to look at this. Now, in two of the divisions, in the Open and the 212, we have a former champion, a champion from the previous year, trying to regain the title. And then we got in the Classic Physique, we got a 5-time Classic Physique champion going for his 6th title. Let's start off in the 212 division. In the 212, I don't think that Keone can lose the title again. I don't think Shaun Clarida will be able to grab that title back from him. And it's no knock on Shaun Clarida. Said it over and over again. He's a mini-me Ronnie Coleman. But on the flip side of it, Keone Pearson is kind of like a mini-me Flex Wheeler. But unlike the real Ronnie Coleman and the real Flex Wheeler is the bigger statured man. That's flipped around. Keone, like I said, a mini-me Flex Wheeler, beautiful shape, structure, flow, everything. He's at small joints. His issue was he had some things going on upstairs, some personal things he was dealing with. He couldn't nail the conditioning. He got his head together, and he looks like he's found the formula to get the conditioning. All he needs to do is make it better and better. Keone weighed in at 14 pounds under the weight limit. And he still has, stature-wise, he's much bigger than Shaun. And he still has so much, another 14 pounds of muscle he could potentially put on and stay in that, stay within the weight limit. Yeah, Shaun has a lot more weight that he can put on and still remain under the weight limit. But the difference is, Keone has room to put on that extra size. Shaun doesn't have the room anymore. We saw what happened at the last Olympia. The only thing he can do is bring in the hardest, craziest, grainiest physique he can bring in. But I think at this point now, Keone has found his groove, and it's going to be very, very difficult for Shaun to overtake that. Could somebody else overtake Shaun and move into the second place position? That would be a very, very tough undertaking also. The Classic Physique is really interesting. You know, one of the things about Chris Bumstead is that he was able to overpower everyone else in the division. Amongst other things, shape, structure, conditioning. He has a great package. But he was up, at times, he was up against some guys that couldn't match him in those departments, but he was just, it was like Lee Haney during his reign. He was just head and shoulders, literally or figuratively above everybody else, and he just overpowered them. He's had a long stretch. How long can he maintain his best or even improve over his previous best before he starts going backwards? There's always going to be a time when the body starts to shift. And you know what? With Chris Bumstead, he's a daddy, and he's talked about retirement. So once that's in your mind, now he has somebody that's going to be up there on stage with him that he's absolutely not going to be able to overpower. Wesley Vissers. All of a sudden, he's coming to his own. Shape and flow, I think Chris Bumstead still has him. Structurally, Wesley is probably bigger than Chris. He carries a good amount of muscle. I think he carries more muscle. I'm not sure whether they fall within the same weight limit or not. I think Wesley is a little bit, is the next cap up. But he's, in his last two shows, the Arnold and the Arnold UK, he just brought this crazy conditioning. And if he can bring a little more fullness with that conditioning, he's not going to be overpowered. And even though it's a very different physique from Chris Bumstead, it's still classical in the way we think of it. His physique actually resembles Arnold's in many ways, and Arnold happens to be his idol. He tries to pattern himself after Arnold. Chris, I thought he was going to announce his retirement this year. I think he's going to go through and he's going to be on the stage again. I don't see him competing again. I think he has in his mind that he's going to retire next year. And that could be a problem going into this Olympia with someone that's he cannot overpower and brings not the same qualities, but brings his own gifts to the table. He's this one's up in the air with Chris. It can go either way. Going into the open, I don't. Not to knock Derek, he has a lot going for him, but I was never overly. Well, put it this way, I was never as impressed with him as I hear other people talk about him. And I think on the stage, as both a 212 and an open, he's lacking in certain things. And he's lacking in the same things in the open as he is in the 212. I think it was a tough one for him last year. He took the win. After seeing what we've seen from Hadi in his last two shows, and the fact that maybe I'm crazy, but the way I see it, Derek is just a bigger version of his 212 competitive look. Like I said, his issues, shallow chest, he needs some work on his arms, all these things. He's not as hard from the front. They were all there as, and his legs also could be fuller from the front. These were all there as a 212 also. They haven't changed. We saw what Hadi's bringing now is like a revamped Hadi. better version, best version we've ever seen of Hadi. And now he has the likes of Nick Walker, who I think we're going to see something crazy at the New York Pro, who is not only as hungry as he's always been, he's always had that hunger. He has a chip on his shoulder, and he brings a freak factor. He brings crazy muscle, and he always comes conditioned. And Derek really has his hands full holding off these two. And who knows who might surprise us come Olympia time. I rambled on a little bit over there. Point being is, I think we're going to have a really interesting Olympia. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some changes in the title. All right, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said, please let me know in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, leave a comment. This is Michael Diamond. I'd like to thank you for watching Muscle Central.